Good evening and welcome to our KGNS Plus Year in Review. I'm Yoselin Gallardo. Tonight we'll go over the top 10 headlines that made an impact in our community this year. From Webb County turning red to a Laredo native making us proud at the Summer Olympics. Let's take a look back at 2024. We begin our top 10 stories with number 10, the total solar eclipse visible along a narrow track stretching from parts of Texas to Maine on April 8th. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for many, one that had everyone headed outdoors and looking upward to the sky. On this day, the moon would pass between Earth and the sun, thereby blocking the sun in all direct sunlight. In Laredo and the surrounding communities, a partial eclipse was visible, sending students and adults of all ages, each equipped with special glasses outdoors to catch the rare sight. A sight so special, it prompted KGNS reporter and weekend anchor Liseli Garza and KGNS Chief Meteorologist Richard Heatwave Burler to journey to Eagle Pass, Texas. As it lay in the direct path of totality, both would report their experience live on our parent company's Great Television 24/7 local news live. Meanwhile, here at home, we caught up with students over at Morton High School who clearly understood the gravity of history in the making.
Really, amazing because it's something that has to do with space, and space is just like something that we haven't really fully comprehended yet. So being able to see something like this again in our lifetime is just like, it's a wow factor for me.
It's definitely, I'd say a once in a lifetime, thing that you get to experience, and especially us, Laredo, we got lucky. We're pretty close to like where the total eclipse is gonna occur.
Well, the next total eclipse in the United States is expected in 2045. After multiple sightings reported of wildlife animals roaming around the city, state officials were put on alert, leading with one of the animals shot dead. Coming in at number 9 for nearly 2 days, a video of a mountain lion roaming around South Laredo went viral, causing concern within the community. The mountain lion was found resting in the backyard of a house located at the 100 block of Crest Lane. The homeowner called Laredo police, who immediately arrived at the scene to remove the animal. Police say they were able to trap the animal in the backyard. However, while waiting for the tranquilizer to arrive, the animal tried to escape. Prioritizing the safety of the people who live in the area, police and the game warden opened fire, resulting in the death of the animal.
It's an unfortunate outcome. Our priority is always, our mission is to save lives, and obviously a beautiful animal like this one, it's a shame that, we didn't have a more positive outcome. But basically it was done for the safety and security for the other residences.
And other wildlife sightings include a monkey hit by a car in February and a baby kangaroo at the Alexander subdivision in September. Officials asked the community to read local animal ordinances on carrying or owning animals not native to the area. For the first time in Mexican history, citizens voted a woman to the presidency. Coming in at number 8, President Claudia Sheinbaum visits our sister city. In July, the former President Andrés Manuel López Obrador and President Sheinbaum visited Nuevo Laredo and stopped by a new National Customs Federal facility being built. After she was sworn in October, in December, President Sheinbaum stopped by Nuevo Laredo to an event on welfare benefits. There, she addressed the creation of social programs for women and children in schools. We continue our year in review for 2024 with a legal battle that ended with a Laredo council member being removed from office. It's number 7 on the countdown. Daisy Campos Rodriguez was removed after the Texas Supreme Court ruled in favor of Ricardo Rangel in the District 2 election case. The case stems from the November 2022 election after Rangel filed a lawsuit against Campos claiming illegal votes were counted. At the start of November 2023, the Fourth Court of Appeals, in 2 separate opinions, ruled in favor of Rangel, saying that he had received more votes than Daisy Campos Rodriguez and that he had won the election. Rangel was sworn into office on January 26 and will serve the remaining 3 years left in the term.
There's some projects going on. If it's something that's priority, yes, of course, we're going to take that into effect. But other than that, right now, I'm still in the first phase, so I still got to look what's there's to do in District 2. There's a lot of things to do in District 2, but what's prioritized.
Despite the outcome, Campos Rodriguez is still allowed to run for office again and could still serve one more term. After more than 20 years, President Joe Biden gives the green light to authorize the construction and operation of a new international bridge. Coming in number 6, President Biden approves a presidential permit for the future 4-5 bridge. Our Alex Cano has more on the road to approval.
4-5 bridge to me is extremely important. All we're waiting for there, quietly, we've been working, quietly, we've been moving, quietly, we've been moving mountains, and all we're looking for now is for the president to sign the presidential permit.
A goal manifested at the beginning of 2024 by Webb County Judge Tano Tijerina. The 20-year project was on the radar of Laredo, Webb, state, and federal officials like U.S. Senator of Texas, Ted Cruz, who blamed the Biden administration for the setbacks during one of his visits in Laredo.
City leaders from Laredo came to me pretty early in the Biden administration, came to my office, and they sat down and they said, okay, we're running into a roadblock at the State Department. We're really eager to expand this bridge. It needs it. We need the new traffic, and suddenly the Biden State Department has announced they won't allow the presidential permit to be approved until the back end, until all the environmental review has been completed. That's going to delay this project by years, and it doesn't make any sense.
But in October, President Biden signed on the dotted line the approval for the future international bridge that will be located between El Cenizo and Rio Bravo. Some people who live in Rio Bravo, like Victor Menchaca, are looking forward to the economic boom the bridge could bring to the two small towns.
The community will have more benefits. Perhaps there will be more businesses, and this will bring more jobs to the community.
Webb County Judge Tano Tijerina added he's been working on the project since 2009 when he ran for office.
You build it, they will come. You're gonna see so many opportunities and development here. It's gonna bring a lot of resources. It's gonna bring a lot of the income. The tax base is gonna go up. It's a big financial impact to both Rio Bravo and Cenizo. It's gonna start. Once you build it, that's it. It's not gonna stop.
The bridge will be built within the next 5 years, which will be available for pedestrian, commercial vehicles, and hazmat traffic. As for maintenance of the future bridge, the plan is for the city of Laredo to continue overseeing it. For KGNS News, Alex Cano.
Now, this story didn't officially make the countdown, but it's worth a mention. Back in March, the KGNS On Your Side team did an in-depth investigation into documents turned over to the Zapata County Commissioner Court, allegedly showing that the former president of the Zapata County Chamber of Commerce was misusing public funds and allegedly covering it up. Those documents were not only turned over to Zapata County, but also state law enforcement officials. According to the district attorney for Webb and Zapata County, the case is being investigated by the Texas Rangers office. KGNS reached out to the office for an update. We're still waiting to hear back. Well, stick around. We have more headlines when we come back. Now into the top 5 from the past to the present. The last time Webb County voted red in a presidential year, well, gas was about 18 cents a gallon. The Titanic sinking made worldwide news, and the Oreo cookie was starting to hit grocery shelves. Well, that year was 1912. Fast forward more than 100 years later, and Donald Trump became the first Republican candidate since William Taft to carry Webb County. Trump carried the county by just over 2% points and a little over 1,500 votes out of more than 66,000 ballots cast. The first time Webb County voters met Trump, they preferred Hillary Clinton at nearly 3-4 clip. Whether Trump and the Republican Party's victory with Webb and Hispanic voters can be classified as a trend, a political twist, or a one-time thing, only time will tell. Now we'll look at more honorable mentions. Unlike 2023 with 7 homicide cases, this year was a different story for the city of Laredo. 2024 saw a reduced number of homicides in the gateway city. As of last December, 6 homicides are reported and cleared through arrests. Another honorable headline includes a 52% reduction in drug-related deaths in Laredo from 2023 to 2024. Promising news after a reported consistent increase since since 2021. In 2024, 37 people died because of an overdose, a decrease from 2023 when 78 people died. The Public Health Department attributes a decrease to many harm reduction strategies. In other border news as well, the Texas Department of Public Safety told KGNS at the start of the year that they had been witnessing chases almost daily, with a citywide DPS chase happening on January 19th, resulting in 4 migrants being turned over to Border Patrol. KGNS has reported nearly 100 DPS chases this year. The department states that for the year 2024, Webb County had 195 pursuits. After the break, KGNS Plus sports director Ryan Bailey joins us with the top sports headlines of 2024.
It was another big year in sports here in the Gateway City. We kick off our countdown of the biggest stories with a new home for one of our teams. Now, at number 5, it's the Heat, finally getting a permanent home. They open up PEG Energy Stadium. After more than 2 decades of calling Laredo home, the Heat never had a place of their own. He's playing most of their games over the years at TAMU, but the Vishwani family set out to change all that, and they did so in style by opening up their state-of-the-art stadium off of Loop 20, boasting top-of-the-line field turf along with a much more intimate setting and more room for their youth leagues. The Heat finally have a place to call home. They'd find their way into the playoffs, but suffer a quick exit. Still, hope springs eternal for Laredo's football club as they are making a move back up the ranks of playing what is the old National Premier Soccer League this summer. At number 4, we head to East of Bruni, where one of the most decorated athletes out there put a cap on his senior season at the state track meet. It's not just that Albert Esquivel competed against the best of the best from across Texas. He did so in 3 different events. Esquivel finished off just off the medal podium in both 100 and 200 meters. Then was the anchor for the school's 4x200 relay team. And all over his 4 years, Esquivel went to state 3 of those, running in 6 different events. For number 3, we go back to last winter, the UIL state offices and their biannual realignment. And while no one is ever really sure what UIL will do when it comes to shuffling teams around, many expected some big changes in Laredo, and that didn't happen, at least not exactly. 4 districts, our Laredo ISD schools stayed much the same. The 3 LISD teams stayed with the basic San Antonio squads for football, while going down to the Valley for the other sports. The 4 UISD schools, they remained with Eagle Pass and Del Rio, but got Medina Valley added. Most thought our schools would go to the Valley and become a new District 31-6A. What did change, though, is who the UISD teams face in the playoffs, as the old longtime District 26 now became District 29, meaning taking on the likes of Judson, Wagner, and Clemens in the first and third rounds. I mean, it could be tough sledding for our 6A teams to see playoff success over the next 2 years. Football, they got swept in the opening round. Alexander Volleyball did make it to the regional semis, though, this fall. For number 2, it's the run that Tecolotes went on this summer as they battle with Monterey for the top spot in the Mexican League's North Division. Real drama, though, saved for off the field. In fact, at one point, the Tecolotes were given an eviction notice by the management company hired to run at Unitrade Stadium. A city manager would have to step in and secure a deal between ASM and the franchise to at least finish off the season. This isn't the first time that Los Dos Laredos and the city have butted heads in the past with issues in 2021 and 22. But as of now, it looks to be all systems go for the sister cities and Mexican League Baseball. On the field, the Tecos were one of the top teams in the league most of the summer, eventually falling to their rivals just 2 hours to our south in the North Conference Championship. And at number 1, it may be the easiest number 1 pick I've ever had while doing these lists. It's Laredo finally getting an Olympian. Jennifer Lozano broke through that barrier by punching her ticket with a semifinal victory in the Pan American Games. She'd spend the better part of 2024 preparing for Paris and competing with Team USA. As fate would have it, La Traviesa would come down with COVID-19 just days before her fight, limiting her ability in the ring. When the big day finally came, it was her opponent from Finland getting the victory. Still, when Lozano returned home, it was a hero's one, being welcomed in as a select few to wear the red, white, and blue at the Paris Games, representing herself, her country, and her hometown proudly. Oh yeah, just about a week ago, she cemented her place on Team USA, another national championship in Virginia. She looks to make a run at the 2028 games in Los Angeles. And just how big was this story? It's not only number 1 in sports, but number 4 overall here on our countdown from the news side. that's a look at some of the big stories that made headlines here in the Gateway City. We can't wait to see what the next 12 months has in store. Stay tuned, though. Our top 3 on the news side coming up after the break.
Into our top 3 stories of the year at number 3, all detailed in the 54-page indictment of Congressman Henry Cuellar and his wife Imelda. Representative Cuellar was indicted this past May for what federal prosecutors allege was his role in 2 nearly decade-long schemes. One scheme involved a state oil and gas company owned by the government of Azerbaijan, and the other involves a bank headquartered in Mexico City. Jury selection is set to begin on September 22nd of 2025 before a United States District Judge in Houston, Texas. Representative Cuellar has maintained his innocence. And from social media threats to threats called in, 2024 saw a huge number of threats to our schools. And for that reason, threats made to schools is our number 2 story of the year. Mindy Castle has more.
That's right, United ISD and Laredo ISD Police Department, working with the Laredo Police Department and sometimes even other law enforcement agencies, were kept pretty busy this year following up on a large number of threats. Threats made to middle schools and high schools, prompting police and school district officials to hold a number of press conferences explaining to the community what they're doing to keep students safe. One threat even came in on the first day of class at Martin High School. But the year saw one of the biggest threats this year over at Alexander High School on February the 2nd, with multiple federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies quickly converging on campus after a social media video went viral, allegedly showing a young man in a vehicle on campus with a gun on his lap. That prompted the entire school to go on lockdown and searched until the young man was eventually found off campus. Now over at Laredo ISD, one of the bigger threats there made this year prompted the shutting down of both Cigarroa High School and Cigarroa Middle School. Well, we reached out to both United and Laredo ISD and asked them to provide us with the specific number of threats their schools received in 2024, but both refused to give us those numbers, instead sending us statements. United ISD saying in part, at the beginning of the fall semester, we did see an increase in reported threats compared to last spring semester. However, we have seen the numbers go down as the school year has gone on. While Laredo ISD telling us Laredo ISD experienced a decrease in reports of alleged threats to our schools. In every case, Laredo ISD addressed the situation thoroughly in strict adherence to the district's student code of conduct. However, we asked the Laredo Police Department how many threats they were asked to assist the school districts with, and they did give us a number. They told us they were asked to intervene in 17 school threats this year. For KGNS News, I'm Mindy Caso.
Well, it's been roughly 2 months since the boil water notice was lifted, and the city of Laredo has yet to piece together what led up to the multiple positive tests for contaminants. It's our top story looking back at 2024. Our San Lozano has the story.
It was nearly a week and a half of a citywide boil water notice, Texas governor declaring Webb County a state of disaster, mobilizing city and state authorities to find the source. The water coming from Laredo's water treatment plants Jefferson and El Pico were testing clean. The contamination was believed to have happened along the distribution lines that led to positive tests for E. coli and high levels of contaminants, with the affected areas mostly isolated to central Laredo. Officials were able to approve a partial lift of the boil water notice for people whose water came from the El Pico water treatment plant. The 11-day notice led community members to be in an uproar, with many attending city council meetings to voice their discontent. The boil water notice ended on October 21st before noon. Throughout the entirety of the notice, the city provided over 120,000 cases of water. It was, and it still is, believed that the source could be caused by the aged infrastructure or a possible improper cross-connection. Throughout their search for the source of contamination, the city was able to find over 200 improper connections. Since then, an amnesty program was created so that people could report their cross-connections and receive a free inspection by the utilities department. People could then make repairs if requested by the department. The amnesty program was set to end on June 2025, with enforcement beginning on July 1st. The city proceeded to outline a series of goals.
We are planning to give a discount on their water bill. And another thing we're planning to do that I will put forward is giving the businesses some rebate because of the time they lost business and money that they lost. So it's important for us to help them out.
The city provided a $10 utilities credit for all Laredoans and created the Business Assistance Fund. The Utilities Department has since undergone restructuring. The moving of personnel to roles that better fit their skills and the resignation of the Assistant Utilities Director, Arturo Garcia. The department is now headed by Interim Utilities Director Buzz Pishker. The hope is that these adjustments will prevent future problems. For KGNS News, Salma Lozano.
That was a look back at the local stories that grabbed your attention. Now, as we wrap up, we thank you for continuously tuning in, and I thank the KGNS Plus team who works in front and behind the cameras for making it all happen. Happy New Year.
Closed captioning sponsored by Injured? Call Roderick Lopez, your local PI attorney at 956 Laredo.